White South African farmers will be removed from their land after an overwhelming vote in parliament. The country's constitution is likely to be amended to allow for the confiscation of white owned land without compensation, following a motion brought on by opposition leader Julius Malema of the Economic Freedom Fighters Party, or EFF.
Hey guys, welcome back to Nicole's View. Yeah, this news coming out of South Africa had a lot of folks talking tonight. Um, so, the new president of South Africa wants to seize land from white farmers without compensation. Now, you know, all the white supremacists, oh my gosh, you should read the comments. It is Woo, it's so funny. I was dying laughter. That's all I did, I think, today is just read their comments. The tears, the anger. It's just so delicious. I kid you not. But this apparently has been a long time coming. It is a new day. It is our people waking up and saying, enough. I hope this is replicated and it starts to spread like a wildfire and we fight back for what is rightfully yours. And, folks are already saying, oh, who cares? Why don't, all the white farmers, leave and let them just let the whole farming system there collapse. Really? Really? But they're still trying to hang on. What are you hanging on to? If it's so crappy, if it's so horrible,
Yep.
Why be there?
Why be there? Because the diamond mines are there.
I read somewhere that 70% of the farming there was overtaken by white people there.
Yep, and the gold mines are there.
It's insanity. It's pure insanity, and it's about time folks did something. And apparently, they've been doing a lot. So I got to give my props to the people there on the ground in South Africa. Um, on one hand, as excited as I want to get, and I am happy for them,
Yep.
we do have to, be cautious as well because it's always some trickery, something they try to pull or have up their sleeves, pull up their sleeves. You guys know what I'm saying.
Yep.
So some folks may say this is just a symbolic victory, but I don't know. I've read that too for some black people, but I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. No one is saying that land must be taken away from our people, he said. Rather, it is how we can make sure that our people, all right, have equitable access to land and security of tenure. We must see this process of accelerated land redistribution as an opportunity and not as a threat, he added during a speech to Parliament on Tuesday. Such a drastic move would not damage the country's agriculture or economy, the South African president promised. We will handle it with responsibility. We will handle it in a way that will not damage our economy, that is not going to damage agricultural production, he said. Yeah, more than 2 decades after the end of the apartheid in the 1990s, the ruling African American Congress ANC party is under pressure to tackle racial disparities in land ownership in South Africa. The country is home to over 50 million people, with whites owning most of the land.
Yep.
This has been a long time.
With diamond mines and gold mines in South Africa.
According to a recent study, black South Africans constitute 79% of the population, but directly only own 1.2% of the country's rural land. Meanwhile, white South Africans, who constitute 9% of the country's population,
Yep.
directly own 23.6% of its rural land and 11.4% of the land in towns and cities, according to the Land Audit Report.
All right, let's go to those gold mines. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to go to something else first. Hear these people talk about the South Africans. All right, here we go.
Not every black person in sub-Saharan Africa is a complete idiot, and not every complete idiot in sub-Saharan Africa is necessarily black. However, when you take a look at the map that we have on the screen here, you can understand why wealth redistribution, including land redistribution in South Africa, is doomed to failure.
Doomed to failure.
This map is an illustration of the distribution of intelligence.
He said it's doomed to failure. Now, all of those animals that the Africans have been taking care of, the pictures that the white people have been showing us about Africa, where they're over there with animals, herding the animals, everything, herding the animals and everything. And he's going to say that those people can't farm. That's what a lot of them are saying. All you have to do is just go in these videos and you'll see them talking about white people are mad that the South African people want to put them out. Okay? Listen to this. Listen to this racist right here. They're mad.
By geography, and as you can tell, those with IQs, people groups with IQs under 65, are illustrated with dark red. Those with IQs ranging from 70 to 75 are like orange to orange red, and you can see the concentration is in sub-Saharan Africa. Those with high IQs are represented with blue and very dark blue or purple, so you can see that
And that's all in Europe.
People with high IQs, those of 105 and above, are concentrated in China and Japan, East Asians. Okay, there are some exceptions. There are some East Asians who are not terribly intelligent, particularly in Southeast Asia. But the average intelligent
Here it comes.
group is concentrated in the United States, Canada, Australia, and the southern three states of Brazil. These represent basically white populations.
Yep, see that?
White people tend to have average IQs. Those who are black tend to have lower IQs, and those who are East Asian tend to have slightly higher IQs. Okay, with that understood, let's ask ourselves the question, why is it that the wealth redistribution expressed through land redistribution in South Africa is doomed to failure?
Doomed to failure.
It's for this reason. Black people in South Africa do not have the intelligence to successfully operate businesses.
What did
they
you
have
say?
been in sub-Saharan Africa for tens of thousands of years. They have been in sub-Saharan Africa.
Hold up. Here it goes.
Black people in South Africa do not have the intelligence to successfully operate businesses. They have been in sub-Saharan Africa for tens of thousands of years, during which time they have
Conquered?
They managed to discover fire, and they managed to build grass huts.
Oh!
That's pretty much the limit of their technological know-how. There is a reason why.
Oh, what's that reason?
Sub-Saharan Africans, the Bantu, did not populate the area that we now call South Africa for tens of thousands of years.
Oh my
because
gosh,
it's
that's a
too
lie.
cold. They don't like the climate. Why would they move to South Africa where it gets cold in the summertime when they could stay in Sub-Saharan Africa?
All right. That's
where the
enough of your
temperatures
racist bullshit.
are.
Let us now talk about what's in South Africa. Here we go, right here.
I'm Faye from Faye's Diamond Mine in Clinton. Diamonds are not just our business, they are our passion. We belong to the world's largest buying group, the Independent Jewelers Organization. I've traveled to South Africa to see firsthand where the modern diamond industry began. For the first time, diamonds were made available to the general public, not just to kings and queens.
As you will see, the diamond mining process has changed dramatically since the early days of horse-powered winches, manual digging, and individual claim. The diamond has come a long way from its origins at the beginning of Earth's geologic history, but its removal from the mines of South Africa is only the first leg of this epic journey. A large amount of the diamonds that are mined are shipped to the Central Selling Organization in London. The CSO sorts the diamonds into thousands of different categories.
Now we see why those white people don't want to leave South Africa, because all of the diamond mines. But guess what? Here's another video about another diamond mine in South Africa.
The famous pipe in Kimberley, South Africa, discovered in the late 1800s, was
South Africa
450,000 square feet across and 3,500 feet deep. Our knowledge of diamonds was acquired slowly. In 1772, French chemist Antoine Lavoisier shattered the myth that diamonds couldn't burn. He focused the sun's rays through a big circular lens and trained it on a small diamond sitting in a glass bowl filled with oxygen.
And lo and behold, after a couple minutes, the thing began smoking.
Next, the great South African diamond rush. In the 16th century, lovers wore scribbling rings made of diamond. They were used to etch romantic notes on window panes. Diamond mines will return on Modern Marvels. We now return to diamond mines on Modern Marvels. In 1866, the great South African diamond rush made world headlines. It began when 15-year-old Aramis Jacobs spotted a transparent stone on his father's farm on the south bank of the Orange River. That stone was a 21-carat diamond.
People just rushed to South Africa. And at that time, transportation was not very good, so it took them about 3 or 4 months to get there.
Within a year, a feverish mix of American veterans of the Civil War, Eastern and Western Europeans, and Canadians swarmed the Cape of Good Hope to mine diamonds.
Black diggers were basically hired labor, and they were sent in to do the dirty work. And it's not that the white guys didn't do the job, too. Everybody was out there in the flies and the sun and the sewage.
Diamonds were hand-washed from the alluvial or riverbed pebbles.
What happened after that was people began fanning out into the backcountry, away from the rivers, in hopes that they might find diamonds there. And indeed they did.
In 1869, the practice of dry digging for diamonds was born.
So they said that black people were doing the dirty work, getting all the diamonds for them. And they said that white people were helping. Yeah, supervising them. Listen.
Black diggers were basically hired labor, and they were sent in to do the dirty work. And it's not that the white guys didn't do the job, too. Everybody was out there in the flies and the sun and the sewage.
Diamonds were hand-washed from the alluvial or riverbed pebbles.
So we see South Africa has diamond mines. And guess what? They have gold mines, too. Listen.
South Africa was once synonymous with gold mining. However, due to massive industrial decline, many of the most productive mines the world has ever known lie abandoned and unused. The US Geological Survey estimates that South Africa retains nearly 50% of the world's unmined gold. In fact, Johannesburg sits on top of the biggest gold basin ever discovered. So with an unemployment rate estimated between 25 and 40%, it's perhaps unsurprising that abandoned gold mines across the region have seen an explosion in illegal activity.
I heard someone told me about gold. There is something called gold. I wanted to know what is gold.
Kenneth Domini is a local chairperson for the Community Policing Forum. He regularly attempts to mediate between illegal miners and the wider community, as well as local law enforcement.
There's 3 groups in a mine. There's a group, they're calling themselves, then they just shoot them straight away. R1, they've got all those things. When I tell them, guys, you get killed in that mine. Why don't you stop? They say what we're going to eat after that. Some of them they refuse to work for them. Then they just shoot them straight away.
Underground in Bumadang, I was shot 8 times. They shot me here, came out here, this side. This is a shot that went in here. The bullet is still inside. They cannot take it out. Went here.
South Africa voted to
vicious
confiscate
people. I don't
all the
know what
land
can
from
I
the
call
white
them.
farmers and give them no compensation, which makes sense. You know, if you take some land through war, then, you know, you can't say you own the land. You can only own the land if you buy it. Now, if you buy the land, then you could sell it. The person has to buy it back. But if you take the land by force through war, then people can take it back by force and by war. So it's just one of those things. I mean, when you look at a continent and you look at a person's homeland, you know, you just can't have people come from another place and own the best land and monopolize in somebody else's country. You know, just the idea that you would even do that, the idea that you would even move to Africa and walk around and try to build better homes and live better than the people in Africa, it just says a lot about you right there. Right there, you're not decent. So the people the whites in South Africa, they're not decent people, okay? They're basically thieves and pirates. I mean, let some Chinese go take Germany. Let some Japanese take Britain. Okay, you know, that's their homeland. They wouldn't want to give that up. So, you know, you have to look at it like that. We're on Earth, and we wouldn't want aliens to come from another planet and take all the resources from here and take it to their planet and have us just here starved out working for them while they're living good. So the gig is up. The whole colonialization, the whole being able to lie to your own race so you can exploit other people, those days are just really coming to an end, you know. And they're going to come to an end in a peaceful way or in a violent way. But it's coming to an end. Nobody's going to let you rape them forever and ever and ever. You know, it's time for Europeans to return to Europe and, you know, make the best out of their own homeland and stop going around stealing. One of the craziest things about this story is I'm hearing, and I'm not sure about this, that there's a petition to try to get President Trump to bring the white farmers to the United States. Now, look. As a black person, I got enough racists here already I have to deal with. The last thing I want to do is be a black person living in one of these states and have to go to the store and be in line with one of these racist white South Africans that think they can really look at me and talk to me like how they've been acting in South Africa. That'll just be a huge problem for them. You know, that ain't going to work, you know. Go the fuck back wherever your indigenous homeland is. Go back there, okay? Go back there. And the sad thing about it is, when you hear that they want to come to America, it just validates that the Africans have to get their land, because look at America. It's to the point where whites from other places have bought into the fact that this no longer belongs to the Native Americans. And they're willing to come and settle on Native American soil, regardless if it's a legitimate deal for whites to be in America. As far as I'm concerned, whites in America is totally illegitimate. It's an illegitimate occupation of a nation. It's just that simple. And what makes it totally illegitimate is the conditions of the Native Americans. I know in South Africa it's got to be a lot of tension because, you know, in Cape Town they already have a water shortage down there, and all type of tension between the rich whites that could, you know, make things happen and get water in a lot of situations where the blacks can't. So that's going to be some tension because, you know, if you're in your own homeland and it, you know, and whites have a large stake where they have carved out and stolen a lot of your land and have mistreated you for so many years, then, you know, you can't expect them to be fair when it comes to the water situation. So anybody that hasn't been fair with you all these hundreds of years, you know, the chances of them being fair now is very slim, you know. So that's just a problem on top of a problem. And the brother Julius Malema, he runs that party in South Africa, and he made some pretty harsh statements. Check out what he said.
The time for reconciliation is over. Now is the time for justice. We must ensure that we restore the dignity of our people without compensating the criminals who stole our land.
Now you can hear the brother serious. He wants to have the best for his own people. Just like anybody else, you want to have the best for your own people. I mean, I can go to videos on YouTube showing Russians attacking Asians and Africans because they don't want them in Russia. So it's hypocritical to, have Europeans in Europe wanting foreigners out of Europe, but yet will leave Europe themselves and go to other people's land to live. It's like some weird shit, I have some of them come to my page and they have bought into the whole white supremacy thing. They said blacks have a lower IQ, and they have actually believed that. And I'm like, there's nothing that proves that any particular group of people have a higher IQ. IQ is on the individual level. Who told you that? We got dumb people in every race. So, the damage from past racism is still here today. People have bought into it and have passed it down from generation to generation. And it's going to come to a head because nobody's going to let you punk them forever. And nobody, you could win today and lose tomorrow. So, these wars to take people's land and totally mistreat them are backfire on you, If you're going to occupy a nation, at least have it decent enough to be decent with the nation. Don't be a moron, and just be so racist that you want to see yourself with all the houses, all the cars, all the mansions, all the money, and you go all out your way to systematically oppress the other people, and you do it slick and systematically so you can throw your hands up and say, I don't know what happened. I don't know how you got like that, the gig is up. So I wanted to bring this to the people because a lot of these type of conversations, what's going on with black people around the world, are not being had. It used to be a time you could listen to reggae music and keep up with what's going on in the world, but reggae music has totally sold out. Reggae music is as weak as it's ever been, as weaker than it's ever been, actually. It's just a disgrace. You can't get anything out of it, It's not even made for an international crowd anymore. It's a high level of patois being spoke, like they're only making music just for other Jamaicans. And as far as black people go, reggae music is not highlighting all the problems we got around the world. So people like you and I, we have to go make videos and we have to highlight what's going on with black people in Brazil, what's going on with the black Mexicans, what's going on with the Africans in Europe, what's going on with the brothers and sisters from the Caribbean in Europe, and what's going on with black people in all the different countries in Africa. It's our responsibility to dive into these situations because we've had shows like TV One and stuff like that, but they spend too much time grandstanding and Negroing, and they never really would get down to issues. A lot more issues could have been covered. We got BET has no news at all. We don't have a news. There's no such thing as black news, not on the level of a Fox or CNN. And so that's something else we're going to be looking to in the future, too, to get, us some real credible news for black people about black people. So, keep up with what's going on in South Africa. It could spill over into violence. That violence can end up being global because the days where you can go and kill blacks in one place and the rest of us don't get involved, those days are also over. And so if it goes bad, it's going to go bad everywhere. You're not going to be able to just kill our brothers and sisters in South Africa in their own homeland. You can't go in somebody else's land and tell them what the fuck to do. You got to go home. And if you go home, if you go to Europe, if you go to England, if you go to Ireland and stuff, you're going to want that same respect. As an Irishman don't want no Japanese coming to Ireland telling them what to do. So it has nothing to do with race as much as it has to do with have some respect and treat others the way you want to be treated. You know, when you go to other people's country, treat them in their country the way you want to be treated when people come to your country. That's the bottom line.